Hi there everybody, this is David, and there are a ton of great JRPGs out there. A lot of the times, the big names, they get the headlines. The Final Fantasies, the Dragon Quest, the Tales of the World. Those are the ones that people kind of focus on. And then other ones kind of go under the radar. But that's what I want to look at today. I'm looking at 10 RPGs that are really freaking great that you probably haven't played because they just went under the radar. And I definitely do think that's with the sub as you come and you join a party and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your hype. It helps me out a ton. And now let's look at some of these underrated RPGs. Number 10. Final Fantasy Legend 2, released for the Game Boy. Let me just mention this game with a caveat. If you're as old as I am and you grew up on the Game Boy, more than likely, you've played this game. However, if you're younger and the Game Boy generation passed you by, you probably just looked at the black and white screens and said, nope. But let me just tell you all, there are some great games on this old brick, and this one is easily the best of the bunch. It's actually the second game in the Saga series, and you can choose for your party from humans, mutants, robots, and monsters, each with different strengths and weaknesses as you travel from world to world, solving their problems, collecting the Magi, and searching for your missing father. This game is definitely a case of not judging a book by its cover. Number 9. Rhapsody, a musical adventure, released for the PlayStation and Nintendo DS. You know how many RPGs are focused upon political intrigue, world domination, and slaying demon lords? Well, not this one! It might as well be titled Rhapsody, a girls and gays adventure. This is not your typical game. Not only does the story unfold in the style of a musical, it's just complete nonsense from beginning to end. Though it's made by the same team that made Disgaea, it's really too bad that they didn't continue with this series instead. I like it so much better. Although, it does have some sequels over in Japan. The story follows Princess Coronet and her army of puppets as she fights to rescue her crush, Prince Franz Ferdinand, from a witch and a crazy machine gun-toting rival. It's also kind of nice that they subvert the usual tropes with a girl saving the prince and the main character being a supporter rather than a traditional knight or something along those lines. Number 8. Hexus Force, released for the PSP. The PSP seemed to fly under the radar in general, overshadowed by the much more popular and JRPG heavy Nintendo DS, which really is a shame because it had some true gems on it that many people haven't really had a chance to play. To start, you choose from one of two protagonists, each with completely different parties, motivations, and storylines. It kind of feels like you're playing two different games in one. The story takes place on the planet Norvia, whose orbit is tidally locked, so that one hemisphere is always light and the other is always dark. Each side has their own culture, cities, and goddesses. On the light side, the goddess of creation, and on the dark, the goddess of destruction. And your decisions will cause the balance of the world to shift towards creation or destruction, giving way for tons of replay value based upon your choices. Number 7. Manichemia 2, released for the PlayStation 2. Shockingly, there was a time whenever I really enjoyed the Atelier series. But that was way back on the PS2 when they released the good spin-offs here, because the mainline crafting crap can just go die in a fire. Except for Lent, he's hot, he can stay. Back then, I thought that this series could rival Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and Tales as one of my favorite franchises. I mean, between the Atelier Iris series and the Manichemia games, I was hooked. Manichemia is a fun, lighthearted, traditional JRPG with a dual hero system. There's literally two separate games here with two different parties and two different storylines, just like Hexus Force. This isn't Wild Arms where they all just kind of meet up anyway. This is two full-fledged games in one. But they don't really make games like this anymore. They were just added as DLC. Number 6. The Treasure of the Rudras, released for the SNES. This is an odd bird, released late in the SNES's life cycle and made by Square. At first glance, you might think that it's just another Final Fantasy clone, but you'd be wrong. The game follows 3 heroes on their separate journeys to stop a never-ending cycle of birth, death, and rebirth of humanity. The story begins just 2 weeks before humanity is destined to perish, and that's all the time that you have. The story almost seems like the basis for like Final Fantasy VII, with the planet being destroyed through pollution. But the real draw is the magic system. Over the course of your journey, you're going to learn different mantras or key words, and these mantras are actually spells, which you can then modify with prefixes and suffixes to enable them to do different things. The system is addictive and unique, and the storyline enthralling. I could not put this one down. Number 5. Albert Odyssey: Legend of Eldine, released on the Sega Saturn. This has the double whammy of being a JRPG released late in the life of the obscure Saturn, but then also being localized by Working Designs, which is notorious for their limited release. And then it raises the prices of their games astronomically, so it's little wonder that not many people have had the chance to play this. It's a beautiful turn-based RPG and a side story to the original Albert Odyssey strategy games released on the SNES over in Japan. It comes complete with voice acting, Mode 7 graphics, and the lovely Working Designs humor. The story follows Pike, a plucky teen whose family was murdered and his sister turned to stone, so it's up to him to find a cure for her and, of course, save the world. Number 4. Just Breed, released for the NES. Released late in the NES's life cycle and only in Japan, this was Enix's answer to Sega's Shining Force series, and it also competed alongside Nintendo's own Fire Emblem. I actually went and I Let's Played this on my channel. It's definitely unique insofar as you control true armies rather than just units. You can have up to like 30 characters all fighting at the same time in battle, and there's no permadeath, thank God. For an NES game, the maps are huge, much larger than most tactical maps, and because of that, your army is enormous too. Not only do you control the commanders, but you control their 5 underlings as well. The story's well told, and you can actually explore towns and equip every single little character. It's super unique, almost like Ogre Battle meets Final Fantasy Tactics. And you might think that this makes the battles a little bit overwhelming, but it doesn't. It's just a whole lot of fun. Number 3. Dragon Quest Monsters: Caravan Heart, released for the Game Boy Advance. While I'm not the biggest fan of monster capture in games, I do like the Dragon Quest Monsters games, and this is a spin-off of a spin-off starring Kiefer of Dragon Quest VII fame, while taking place in the world of Dragon Quest II, and it features monsters to catch from all the classic games released up to that point. It's really fun to revisit and redo the storylines of Dragon Quest II but in monsters form. The storyline's well done, and each chapter allows you to explore a different continent, revisit familiar locales like Moonbrook Castle, and solve all the residents' problems. Also, there's a recruitment system where you can list NPCs to join your caravan, and as you do so, they impart powers to your party, like the ability to see a larger map, or deal more damage, or even heal your party. Any Dragon Quest fan will be pleasantly surprised by the polish that went into this little gem. Number 2. Nayuta: Endless Trails, released for the PSP. I love a good action RPG, especially when they're beautiful, whimsical, and chock full of fun, rather than like gloomy post-apocalyptic affairs. This is a love child between the action of Ys and the story of Legend of Heroes. And you play as Toa's grandfather, Nayuta Herschel, exploring a world called Lost Heaven, which consists of 4 continents, but the seasons are all kind of out of whack. So once you clear the continent and you restore it to its original season, you can go back through the stages again to find more hidden secrets. Whirlpools might change into quicksand, or lakes might freeze over depending on the season. There's tons of objectives to accomplish in each stage, which keeps the game fresh and challenging. And each time there are different enemies, more treasures, special skills, and magics to find, of course with secrets to uncover. And number 1, Last Bible 3, released for the SNES. Do you guys remember Revelations the Demon Slayer? No? Well, I do. It was released back on the Game Boy Color, and it was the first experience that I had with the SMT series, as well as the first game in that series to actually make it across the pond. And maybe we'll discuss that game in a future video. But anyway, Last Bible 3 is the 3rd game in that series, and it plays just like a traditional JRPG, with towns, dungeons, and a world map, only with demon recruitment as usual. I do wish that the Last Bible series continued along, because of the many SMT spin-offs, Last Bible is probably my favorite among them all. At least, I like it better than that boring Persona. Instead of the usual near-future apocalypse setting, Last Bible's setting is closer to light medieval fantasy, along with some turn-based combat and fusing demons to make them even stronger. Well, that's it for the top 10 best JRPGs that you've probably never played. This does seem like a pretty fun series, and I would like to continue it. And if you like this video and wanted to hear with the channel, please consider supporting me on Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to my content, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or coming over to my Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the video description. This has been David, and if you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.